Yeah. Look out your window. Knicks fans is on your block. Y'all know the Knicks run the city. Pull them shades back. Look out your window. Look down there on the block. That's Knicks fans right there. It's about that time. It's about that time of the week where you get ready for your work week with the man that is so smooth he does not require a chaser. Your main man, the real, still the real Anthony D. And your main man, Jersey's finest, the hood representative, Uncle Freezie. Yo, fun people in the place to be. What's good? It's number one Chief Rockin' Nation Universal, main man, Uncle Freezie. I'm joined by the dude that's the man that is so smooth. He does not require a chaser. Still, the real AD is in the building. This is old school Knicks. AD, what's good, boss?
Bim.
Bim. Bim.
We haven't had a good bim in a minute.
Bim. When you absolutely right. When you absolutely right, you don't need no exclamation point. All you need is a bim.
That's it.
That is it. When she come through and she got them high heels on and that bim, and you don't need nothing else. What else you need? Bim.
A double bim.
Bim. You know what I mean?
You may even get a triple bim on that one. Bim.
Yeah. Bim. Yeah.
Well, good morning. Salute, Knick Nation. Thank you again for joining us. Me and Uncle Freezie. You know what we do on a Sunday. Even though he was trying to replace me. You saw that? Fans,
what's the Nick G was mad comfortable up here, bro.
What he was doing, he was trying to old Eddie Kane me, but you not gonna get my spot.
Yo, shout out to Nick G, man. Nick G, man, with the accent and everything.
Absolutely, I had him calling me out. You know, AD ducked the smoke.
yeah, man.
Don't change some Pampers. Get out of here.
Yeah, man. Shout out
to Nick G. Shout out to Knick Nation.
Yo, so your what if thing, man, is kind of fascinating in that it's kind of fascinating in that every time I think about the what if scenarios, and I'm talking about as time goes by, I'm not talking about just sitting here constantly thinking about it. In real time, like for instance, the '99 championship, I was thinking, man, if we just had Pat, man, we might have won. And then after that, I watched the Spurs win all those championships. I'm thinking, no, they were at the beginning of a dynasty, bro. And now AD, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I think we got swept. I think they would have swept up. I think they would have swept us off the floor, bro. It'd have been so embarrassing.
You had your Pierre Cardin moment. Is that Pierre Cardin? Nah, I know it. I knew that was no Pierre Cardin.
right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Your house party moment. But I don't think it's. I think to keep to the essence of the topic, you know, the what if. You know, as I was telling you backstage, I was watching Game 3. You know, because we lost the first two in San Antonio, and Game 3, I think, was the only one that we won. And what it was, I didn't finish watching the whole thing because I can only do them in dribs and drabs. You know, and
I'll take so much.
I'll go back to it. You know, I'll because I wish for a different outcome, which we did win that game, so I can stomach that. But the whole series, I think, if we have a healthy Ewing. You know, and this is going back to the entire season because remember, Ewing is the head of the union, the President's Association, and they were fighting, you know, over the new collective bargaining agreements and so forth. So Ewing doesn't come in what we know to be Ewing condition.
Right.
And the injuries start because remember, the season is an abbreviated season, number one. Number two, they trade for Sprewell on the eve of the season. And number three, which is still number one, Ewing is not Ewing, for the entire season because that chemistry, due to some of those factors that I mentioned before, it hovers over the team until the start of the playoffs.
You left out a lot of stuff, brother.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to give a broad
overview. No, I got
overview of basically, what happens, but and my centerpiece to that was Ewing, because
right.
Since the moment they drafted him to the moment they exited him, it's always been about Ewing.
Always about Ewing, yeah.
If Ewing was healthy, I don't think you go home in 5.
I think you go home in 4. To be honest, so I don't even know if you win the Eastern Conference Finals.
Oh wow!
Yeah, wow. But let me explain why though. It's not like I
gotta hear this.
First of all, let's chat. Ask yourself, who's the biggest Patrick Ewing fan you ever heard of?
It's you,
right? And so when I say something about Pat, I'm keeping it a stack. I'm just not like making up stuff as we go, right? During that season, when Pat at the beginning of the season, we're incorporating Sprewell. Larry Johnson is coming off multiple injuries that summer. The Knicks stumble out the gate featuring Pat Ewing. We stumble out the gate. It's the reason why we are the 8th seed and not the 3 seed, right? And then during the course of the year, going away from Pat and getting our athletes out in space and running is the reason why we eventually started catching this. Now, instead of Sprewell running backdoor cuts off of actions by Pat Ewing, Larry Johnson is getting rebounds, outletting to Chris Childs. Chris Childs pushing the ball up the floor. You got Houston or Sprewell on either wing, and now it's like we're generating more easy offense. Now, the defense wasn't exactly the same, right? Because we couldn't guard on the perimeter like we used to guard, right? Now, you know what I'm saying? When you have Larry Johnson, Kurt Thomas, Pat Ewing, Marcus Camby, the irony is without Pat, we still didn't have size inside. Because even though Camby was tall, he was skinny. And even though Larry Johnson was was stout, he was shorter. And even though Kurt Thomas was tough, he was small for the center position or the 4, whichever one Kurt Thomas came in to play. You know what I'm saying? So there were a lot of things that went into it. Like, how do we guard a San Antonio team that both centers were the number 1 pick in their draft? You know what I'm saying? You can't guard them with a Kurt Thomas. You just can't, right? And the other thing too is, my thing is, if we would have unhitched our stuff from Pat earlier and made the transition to that Camby starting with Larry Johnson, Kurt Thomas in a rotation, and ironically sprinkle in some more Rick Brunson, a little bit.
Oh my
right?
God.
And I'm not saying
now you just taking this shit too far.
Nah,
you just taking this shit way too far. Sprinkling I started the Brunsons and the power and all of that. But you taking this revisionist history way too far now. Sprinkling Rick Brunson.
But AD, hear me out on the reason why. It's not because of his skill, bro. It's because of depth.
Oh, he looks good in the pictures. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he looked good in the Knicks jersey. Yeah, the light skin love. You know what I'm saying? Okay. But what I'm saying is think about the offense you were getting from Chris Childs. Non-existent most nights. He was okay, right? He was okay, but he wasn't giving you that. And think about Charlie Ward. Think about Charlie Ward playing 35 minutes a night, right? 30 minutes a night. And think about the offense Charlie Ward was giving you. Non-existent. You know what I'm saying? That game that you just mentioned, I don't even think Charlie Ward scored in that game. Charlie Ward might have played 40 minutes and scored 0 points in that game the Knicks won. Right? And what I'm saying is more bodies, add more bodies to the conversation, man. Just get deeper. You run different lineups. Jeff Van Gundy didn't want to run. Jeff Van Gundy ran a 3-guard lineup at times, most times, only because Sprewell was an asset. If that was Glenn Rice instead of Sprewell, Jeff Van Gundy wasn't running no 3-guard offense, bro. You know what I'm saying? Get out and run, create these lanes.
Why would you know what I'm saying? If I got Glenn Rice, why would you? That's your 3.
Yeah.
But you are. I mean, I can't. I'm trying to get over the Brunson. I'm trying to get over.
Yeah, I'm talking about bodies, bro. I'm talking about bodies.
Okay,
I'm talking about bodies.
So he represents the theory of just bodies, not necessarily his body.
No, where has he ever been an impact at? Rick Brunson has never been impactful on any level.
Stop that. His seed is the head of the organization right now. You need to stop that.
Right, but Rick Brunson
very impactful. Bro.
Rick Brunson wasn't that dude that was gonna. Rick Brunson wasn't Mark Macon. He wasn't Randolph Childress. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't Derek McQueen.
But he made he made it to the NBA.
But he made it to the NBA. That's the point that I'm saying. Like even with Derek McQueen, my homeboy, you know what I'm saying? Even with Derek McQueen, you knew he had deficiencies somewhere, but on a random night he would JoJo English you. You know what I'm saying? Where he would just he could explode for like 40 on an NBA floor. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have the all-around game to stay in the league. Neither did Randolph Childress. Neither did Mark Macon. But these dudes could do something on a random night. The thing with Rick Brunson is he could never do. He was just a hard-nosed, tough point guard that bounced around a little bit, and that's it.
Bim. When nothing else is needed, but back to our the point of the what if. I don't think it's just that. I think Ewing might have only been swept out of one playoffs, if I remember correctly.
Right.
Not to say he's too good to be swept, but with the pieces that they have against that team, I don't look at that San Antonio team as an all-time team. That first one to me is not the best of their championship runs.
Right.
So I think they get, they may even go to a game 7.
How?
They may even go to a game 7 because with Pat, with a healthy Pat, because part of where they had to do this was they had to throw Camby in more of a lead role instead of the co-star. Once Ewing is hurt, Larry Johnson's hobbling on the knee. Chris Dudley is what Chris Dudley is. You see what I'm saying?
When we played without Dudley, we won.
Right. And Camby's now, I think in game 3, they finally start him.
Right.
Marcus, for all of the great things I thought he brought to that season or whatever, Marcus was not physically stout enough to go up against those guys at that point in his career.
Right.
Elongated minutes.
Right.
If Ewing is there, he can be what he was against the Davis boys, against Atlanta. Because remember, the Davis boys are way more physical than San Antonio.
Right. But they wasn't skilled though.
Not skilled like them, but way more physical.
Right.
So physicality is not the problem. When you're asking him to be in a supportive role and someone else is kind of carrying, a good portion of the minutes until Ewing gets hurt. When he comes in, he's the fresh pogo stick legs, pause, and he's blocking and while everybody else is tired, and he just looks like something like where were the Knicks hiding him? See what I'm saying? Those are the differences. If Ewing is there, you don't have to put him in a starting role. You leave him where he's at, and maybe he infuses enough coming off the bench because their bench was like part of the real catalyst of that 99 team.
Okay.
Canby, Sprewell, Childs.
Canby, Sprewell, Childs. Chris Childs, just yeah.
Their numbers tail off in the finals, both Ward and Childs. But we look at, I remember during those years with Ward and Childs, and we never gave them, I think, their just due. Because
I love Charlie Ward, bro.
When they were no longer here, we missed them.
Right.
We missed their leadership. We missed them hitting, big. I remember Childs hitting big shots, doing the throat slash against Miami.
Yeah, the league made the rule. That's the Chris Childs rule.
Yeah.
You remember when Chris Childs used to finish games, like Chris Childs would hit a shot?
Yep.
And he would do that when it was over. The NBA made the Chris Childs rule for that. No throat slash.
And he thought nobody saw him. He kind of sheepishly ran to the bench and he did like a little small one. He thought nobody saw him, and the league
still
got him on camera, still got him.
He crazy. How you gonna run to the camera and do a small one?
Yeah,
he's still on camera, idiot.
Yeah, he was better. He was better than him and Ward as a combination. They were better than what people gave them credit for, especially at that time. Because when they were no longer here, they suffered.
Right.
They suffered at the position for a long time. Very, very long time. You could argue that since Ward and Childs, Brunson is the best thing since Ward and Childs.
You're talking about depth at the position, right?
I'm just talking about depth and overall play.
Right.
Easily, you could make that argument that Brunson is the best since Ward and Childs, and you're talking in between there. There's Lynn, there's Marbury, there's Raymond Felton, Chris Duhan.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're not talking about a great crop of point guards.
Okay. All right, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I think I could kind of yeah. I think I can kind of rock with you on that one. My thing though is if we're talking about the great what if scenario, what if we could have upgraded Childs and Ward, right? What if in 99 you could have pulled off, say, a Gary Payton? Does a Gary Payton help us in that scenario, or is Jeff Van Gundy going to double down with more aggressive defense since Gary Payton was a defensive player of the year?
Oh, he's definitely going to double down. He's definitely going to utilize Gary Payton to the umpteenth degree.
Right.
That's the Tom Thibodeau. He's from that tree.
Right.
If that guy's defensively sound and wants to play harsh, hard nose, whatever, which Gary Payton was just all of that.
Right.
He's going to utilize that. But I never thought I thought in those years, even in the 94 years, I think even in the early part of the 90s, I thought their issue was not being able to get that true scoring three.
They got Glenn Rice 2 years later
But this is
in
that's
the Pat Ewing trade though.
yeah, that's Glenn Rice was finished by then, or near done.
Or,
They never was able to get that true three because they had adequate enough point guard play during those years to get the team into position and so forth. But outside of Ewing and Starks here and there, and then Allen Houston and then Sprewell, they were guards. You understand what I'm saying? There was no outside. Take Ewing away from the front court. There is no scoring force during those years.
Okay.
That's where I think their focus should have been more so on. We need that piece.
Scoring.
Absolutely.
I think they did try that though, AD. I think they did try.
They tried with Xavier.
Right.
Ewing's best scoring piece out of those years in the front court is Xavier, but that's only for one season, and he was broken down.
I think they tried with Kiki Vandeweghe. I think they tried with a lot of guys. I think what it is they didn't make a full commitment to it.
Not at all.
Right, because you're not going to always get it right. Every acquisition is not going to be a perfect fit. Like Charles Smith, every acquisition is not going to be. In theory, Charles Smith should have been the perfect fit, but figuratively, it was just too much for New York, and the pieces on the team trying to, because in theory, Charles Smith should have been a power forward for one, right? With us, he should have been a power. But the Knicks at the time just happened to have 19 of them, right? So now Charles Smith has to play the three, right? So now you got a dude that played center in college trying to turn him into a ball handling asset to help guards. And it was just too much. It was just an odd fit. And to Charles Smith's credit, he played through it like a trooper. Now there's that one moment that has a lot of Knicks fans hating Charles Smith for life. But I remember the nights when Charles Smith would guard everybody on Boston roster. You know what I'm saying? I remember those nights. That dude would guard everybody on Boston roster from 2 through 5. He would guard everybody. Indiana would guard 2 through 5. Right? I remember those nights. I remember him guarding Charlotte. You know what I'm saying? He guarding Zoe and LJ and Kendall Gill and whoever Charlotte had, Hersey Hawk, whoever they had, whoever they had at the time. Right? But my thing ultimately is defense doesn't win championships. I think that only applies to soccer. Defense wins championships.
It's in moments.
Right.
It's in moments. If you build a team based upon just the Stacey Augmans of the world.
Oh God. You remember the Stacey Augman and Mutombo together for Atlanta? That's why they didn't win a championship.
You can't. Somebody has to be able to score the ball.
Somebody got to be able to score.
Somebody got to be able. That's at the very root of it. Whether you like what they bring off their offensive skill pattern or whatever, whoever the best scorer is has to have a bit more respect among the team because everybody else can't score.
Right.
You can't draft a team. Look at what Jordan did. I think we might have hit on this. The other night at during the overnight when he drafted what is that? What is the cat out of North Carolina? Kid Gilchrist.
Yeah.
Right? Did he go to Carolina or Duke? I can't remember.
That trash went to North
Carolina. But he drafted.
Duke would never put no trash like that in the NBA. Duke would never put no Michael Kidd, Reggie Bullock, Wayne Ellington, Theo Pinson.
Danny
No,
Ferry did play in this league.
I mean,
Can we not?
Chris
Let's
Atlanta
not do
too.
that. Mark Allery did play in this league. Can
Mark
we
Allery
not
did play
do that? Let's not do that now.
Johnny Dawkins, Tommy Emeka,
You know, let's not
Kevin
do that
Strickland.
now.
They did play.
They've had a string of, you know, guys like Cherokee Parks.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, North Carolina had Brendan Haywood.
You can't draft a fringe player that high.
Tyler Hansborough.
You can't. How does your team, if you draft a fringe player that high, where do you go to get the meat and potatoes, so to speak, night in, night out?
Are you talking about RJ Barrett?
Ooh. Wow, RJ's not a fringe player.
I'm asking because it seemed like that's where you were.
I think you took a major shot at RJ right there. That was.
I love RJ Barrett, bro.
That was mean.
But
damn funny, but that was mean.
But let me ask you this. Let me ask this. In the what if scenario, and I've been thinking about this for years, and I know if was a fifth and blah blah blah, right? I felt like if the Knicks would have just signed Jalen Rose or traded for Jalen Rose Chicago Bulls years, Jalen Rose on this team, I think would have helped us win the championship. And not because of Jalen Rose's greatness, because he's an aight player. But what he would have gave us was that Swiss Army knife guy that would have been the do-it-all guy with every lineup. Like, you could legit run Jalen Rose out on the floor with Sprewell and with Houston, right? And let Jalen Rose play the point. Allen Houston sit. You slide Sprewell to the 3. Jalen Rose. Slide Allen Houston to the 2, and Jalen Rose play the 3, right? I think that's one of the things that we were missing. The thing, I think what we forget is Sprewell nor Allen Houston were facilitators, right? They were not gonna make other players around them better. But the things that they were good at, they were excellent at it, right? Houston was a great shooter, and he could create his own shot like nobody else in the league. And Sprewell, if Sprewell ever saw 3 shots in a row go in, he's scoring 40. You know what I'm saying? And he was a slasher, a small slasher at 6'5", 180, whatever he was, right? My thing with that is if you sit Houston, now you got Chris Childs, Charlie Ward, and Sprewell. If you sit Sprewell, now you got Charlie Ward, Chris Childs, and Allen Houston. But if you'd have went out and got somebody, like, you remember Walt Williams, the Wizard?
Yep.
Even him.
But the move they made, the two biggest moves that the franchise made in the 90s, or the 3, is Charles Smith in 92, 93.
Yep.
Sprewell in, what's that, 98, 99.
98, 99. Right.
And Camby somewhere earlier in that, you know.
I think they got Sprewell first and then got Camby.
You know, those are the
remember Charles Oakley was so mad that the Knicks traded him, bro.
Yeah, but you know, it was, in theory, I thought it was a good move because he was still valuable and the team needed to
get younger.
Get younger. But what they did was they kept Ewing around in the house clean. And
think about it, they shouldn't have, because if the Houston Rockets can trade Olajuwon in that same year, why can't the Knicks trade Pat Ewing? You know what I'm saying?
At that time, they believed, the powers that be believed, that they had one more run. They had one more run with Ewing, you know, which is again why they fired Nelson, why Van Gundy was coach. He still
They
had
should have fired. They should have fired everybody. I'd have
he
fired.
still had power. I
How
mean,
you
they were
go? How
still
you?
good, but they weren't gonna, not at his advanced age. They weren't
Bro,
gonna, him being the, that's why eventually why their relationship soured, because
right,
the team wants to go one way, which is the players led by Spreewell,
right,
can be, even under quiet, Houston and the old guard with Ewing and them. Ewing wants to go, still it being run through Ewing, and then they have the divorce.
right. But nobody took into account, right? Nobody took into account all the injuries that were piling up on Pat Ewing, because it wasn't just a sprained. It wasn't a sprain, a high ankle sprain that led to a sprained Achilles that led to a torn Achilles. It was the accumulation of injuries over the years that got Pat to that place where you had to slow it all the way down and try to score the ball against set defenses, even though Pat Ewing is in the GOAT conversation with the greatest centers of all time. Pat Ewing at 36, 37 is not Pat Ewing at 26, 27.
No,
You know what I'm saying?
no, it's no, it's no shame to the organization to wanting to move on, because we saw this happen to the Celtics as Red Auerbach is fading into the sunset. They held on to guys way too long.
Way too long.
It's no disrespect. You're not showing them the door and telling them that the numbers have changed and all that, whatever. But Pat, I can't. I want to. If you're willing to come back in this reserve role, on this 2-year deal maybe, but there's no way we can continue the same way.
AD, but remember the idea was tossed about, Pat, could you at least just split minutes with somebody so that we can keep you fresh? Remember that was a conversation. That was a narrative. Pat, split time with somebody so we can keep you fresh for the playoffs.
He was not in. Once he got hurt, and as you said, he broke his wrist in 97, 98. He had an accumulation of things. Him not being healthy, not in the best condition,
right,
and so forth. And then he's hearing these things, what's going on in the organization. He's hearing that he's not welcomed anymore, and he forces their hand.
right.
They being, it's kind of like the equivalent. It's the equivalent to your child in the store is crying for things that you can't afford and you don't want to buy at that time, and you give in to him.
Right.
See what I'm saying? Not to say that Ewing was a child, but he started getting pouty.
Right.
Because, and remember, the team is coming off of back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals and a Finals appearance.
Yep.
That's part of the conversation and the what ifs that we forget. When they went, they totally went Titanic.
Yep.
They went from being a contender, a perennial contender, to went from top 10 to not mention at all.
At all. Bunch of 30-win seasons.
The poster child was Don Chaney. Thank you, Don Chaney.
Thank you, Frank Ntilikina.
Yeah, and Don I like Don, as a brother, doing his thing, and he has a job and whatever. But
right,
look at Don Chaney's records in those, I think 2 seasons, 3 seasons.
Get that motherfucker out of here.
I
hate Don Chaney. I hate that motherfucker. I hate Don Chaney so much, bro. Him and Stu Jackson, bro.
Yo, those years was at least Stu had his one and done. Stu can hang his hat on. I beat Boston, nobody else could.
Right.
He can hang his hat on that, and then he was out.
Right.
Don was here for
multiple bad scenarios. Yeah. He was here during Shannon Anderson and Ron Isley, right? The Isley brothers. That was Howard Isley or somebody.
Rest in peace to what's it the Isley brother that just passed away over the weekend. Was it what? Not I'm about to say Randy. Oh my God, is it Rudolph? I think his name is Rudolph Isley.
I think.
Yeah,
We
rest
are
in
we out
peace.
here. Our team was so terrible. AD. We out here with Ron Isley and Tim Witherspoon on the team. I mean, I don't even know. I didn't even know what direction we was going. Why do you need two power forwards that's 6'8", 270?
It was just the sharpest decline I think I can remember in New York sports, in the tri-state area sports. They didn't win a championship, but they were a perennial contender, and it went.
And Chicago did the same thing, right? But you know what Chicago did? That was smart. They were like, yo, we're not gonna win. We know we're rebuilding. So what we'll do is get in a rebuild mindset, right? They got in a rebuild mindset, and sure they were terrible for a few years, but they were accumulating talent. You know what I'm saying? But the Knicks, on the other hand, I think you know what the Sprewell thing just sent everything over the edge. The Sprewell thing set everything over the cliff, right? You gave Allen Houston the humongous contract to be the franchise player, and then you don't pay Sprewell. You're like, oh man, we pinching pennies. Oh, you pinching really? You pinching pennies, right? You pinching pennies? And they're like, well, Spree, no disrespect, but we paying our homegrown talent. Oh, really? So Allen Houston is homegrown. All these different things, like all these weird things. All they had to do, they could have let both of these dudes walk, right? Trade. You didn't even have to trade Pat for all of the thing. I think the thing that messed us up in the Pat Ewing trade is we tried to get so much for Pat, right? Back then, if you just traded Pat to Chicago and got 3 first-round picks and no players, I think the franchise looked totally different.
Cap relief is what you needed to do.
Yes.
Cap relief, because what you had is, from the two guys that you mentioned, Houston and Sprewell, you had a young Marcus Camby. Marcus Camby, when he leaves the Knicks, becomes Defensive Player of the Year, and has, better years in Denver.
Career takes off.
Career kind of takes off. See what I'm saying? Not kind of, does take off. You had a front court centerpiece.
Yep.
I wouldn't have given Sprewell the money neither. I remember that was a big, Sprewell at Game 5, he showed up, and da-da-da-da. They wouldn't have got there without him, whatever. Fine and dandy. Who was the most stable?
Houston.
Houston.
Right.
By far. They gave him a contract. He signed it.
Right. And to this day, even with the Knicks to this day, who do the Knicks feature more? Houston or Sprewell? To this day, Houston is who they like. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, the Sprewell thing is frustrating. But I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'd have just some of these dudes. Do you remember all the dudes that were getting traded, bro, during this era? Gary Payton, Eddie Jones, all these dudes getting traded around that time, bro. The Knicks couldn't just get in on that. You couldn't get in on a Jerry Stackhouse.
Well, if we're playing the what if game, what if we had sound management?
I wouldn't know what to do with it.
Here's a name that I've always wanted the Knicks to investigate this dude, and every time you heard of him, it's like, oh, he's not going to leave the West Coast. He's not going to leave the West Coast. Da, 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 da. I thought the Knicks should have really given everything they could have to get Jerry West.
Yeah.
At the time when I thought that they could have had him, and you were hearing, oh, he's not going to do this, whatever. I don't even know. Maybe Dolan reached out. That wouldn't be far-fetched.
I think they did multiple times. He just didn't want to.
And he doesn't want to come. Okay, that may be the scenario. But that's the guy, because every time you heard that he was available or whatever, oh, he doesn't want to leave the West Coast. He doesn't
remember when he went to Memphis? Remember when he went to Memphis?
That's where I'm leading to. I'm like, Memphis is not on the West Coast.
Right. Right, right. He went.
Last check, that's south. That's what, southeast.
Yeah, Memphis is right at Mississippi, Arkansas, right in that area, like Mississippi, Arkansas, and somewhere else. I forget. Right. But my thing is, even with the Jerry West, I think that where the Knicks fall down is not Jerry West, and it's not Pat Riley. It's not even Red Holzman. It's they will not give up control, but keep cronies in the front office. Bro, if Jerry West come in here and say he want control over everything, give it to him. Why you need these? When Pat Riley left New York for one reason and one reason only, he wanted to call the shots. And we in here like, nah, man, you ain't girl, you a coach, you ain't calling no shots. And then he go to Miami. He go to Miami, and Miami lives a life that should have been the Knicks' life. Dwayne Wade could have been a Knick. Okay. All those championships, LeBron James could have been a Knick. All of that could have happened in New York if they kept Pat Riley, but they didn't. Alonzo Mourning would have been a Knick, right? All those things, man, that Pat Riley did, all of that could have happened in New York.
Well,
again, they wouldn't see the power.
They didn't have the vision, you know.
Right.
They didn't have which is it's a again, what if?
Right.
You know, what if somebody did say, you know what, Pat? We can't give you ownership, but we're gonna fire Checkets, and this is your show.
Let you call the shots.
Let you call the shots.
What did Checkets do for them to double down to keep him?
Because I recently heard Steve Gutowski, who was head of MSG at one point, previous to Checkits, and he was talking about whole relationships and so forth. And at some point, I've also heard that he wanted them to remove Grunfeld, and Checkits didn't want to fire Grunfeld. He wanted total control of the team, and they just, you know, I'm not. But
Grunfeld was a relationship guy, though. Grunfeld's a relationship guy. He's from New York. He played, yeah.
And like Ernie, you know, like you're a Knick for life. But yeah. Who am I keeping here? Grunfeld, Riley.
Right.
I think I'm letting you go, Ernie.
Right. Yeah, I'd have booted him out. I'd have fired him on the spot.
I'd fire Checkets.
Yeah, I'd have had security walk him out. Yeah, like, yeah. You know,
he's more valuable than either one of you.
Yeah.
That's where you make the power play. That's where you do what Mickey Arson did to us.
Right.
He tampered. He went around the Knicks. However, in his inside relationships, whatever, put it out there like, look, all this and more. I sound like Bob Barker. All this and more. You got the weather. You got everything you want. Bikinis, whatever you want, we got it here in South Beach.
Right. And the thing about it is, all of that could have happened in New York. I don't blame Mickey Harrison. You know what I'm saying? Because the thing about it is, the Miami Heat before Pat Riley was super soft. They were soft as Ronnie Cycli out here with bouncing hair and.
How do you stop tampering?
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I'm saying? How do you stop? So you mean to tell me that if someone who I may have an interest in goes to a party, I can't go to that same party? And if I go to said party, I'm not allowed to talk to him at said party? Are you mad?
Man, the NBA is so...
How do you stop tampering?
The NBA is so fixed. The NBA is so rigged. I don't even want to hit the whole tamper. Adam says, we have to make these players play. And man, I don't want to hear that. Man, the NBA is so rigged. The NBA has been so rigged for so long. And the NBA talking about tampering is laughable to me, bro.
I do think they need to find common ground on that issue, though, Freezie.
But let me ask this. Let me ask you this: when the San Antonio Spurs sucked for 2 years in a row, and you knew this kid Victor Wembanyama was going to be in the draft, did you not know San Antonio was going to get Victor Wembanyama?
If it would be up to them and the Knicks, they would absolutely get
And
Victor Wembanyama.
I knew Victor Wembanyama was going to the Spurs.
Was going to end the Spurs. Yeah.
And just like
it felt like a match. That's what they do.
Right. Just like I knew Zion was going to the Pelicans, bro. The Pelicans working in the New Orleans Saints back office. They only got like 3 rooms. The Saints letting them borrow office space, and the Pelicans need an attraction to make money. And then Zion wound up there.
The coach wanted to retire 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Why did outside of money? Why did Popovich hold on all these years after his championship? After Kawhi left,
right?
Why would he hold on?
Because the NBA was gonna look out for them, right? That's what I'm saying. That's why when I hear tampering, I'm like, man, when I hear tampering, the first thing I'm thinking about is David Stern tampering in the Tim Donaghy case. You know what I'm saying?
David Stern tampering when they traded Chris Paul to the Lakers.
Yes, bro. How?
The league literally, because the league was running Charlotte.
Yeah.
And I think who was the general manager? Was it Demps? I can't remember. Was it Demps? I can't remember who the general manager was, but the league stepped right in and was like null and void. Nope.
Yeah, because the Cleveland Cavaliers owner was crying because LeBron left to go to Miami. You know, exactly. Mark Cuban was crying because he couldn't get a free agent, and so these owners is like, yo, how you gonna let them turn the Lakers into a super team and we can't trade anybody? It was clear as day those two owners wanted that man, and he didn't want to go there. So I mean, but yeah.
With Stern moving on and passing and so forth or whatever, I never want to kick anybody, a dead man, but they needed new leadership from ownership side.
Yeah.
They needed someone that was less rigid.
Right.
He as he gets older and so forth, he gets more and more rigid, with players and the young players of the time coming into the league that he did not understand per se.
Well,
and they have their own issues, the Iversons, the this, the that. They're bringing in a whole new swag, and the league was in the 80s and 90s and 80s. They were, coming into the game, leaving from the game, you in suit and tie.
Right.
You spoke, you had a certain kind of eloquence, everyone had a little bit of a Magic Johnson smile. All of a sudden, nobody's smiling anymore.
Right. David Stern
smiling ain't cool.
Yeah, David Stern cleaned up the league, though. I ain't gonna lie to you. The Larry O'Brien era of dudes, what I'm saying? Dudes are standing up in the interview with their eyes all glossy. They high as a kite. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, David Stern did his thing, right? He did have to pass the torch to Adam Silver, though, because before Adam Silver, the league did look like a whole bunch of rich white dudes that had cheap labor on a basketball court. To me, that's what it looked like.
Well, shit. Is Adam Silver black? Is Adam Silver non-white? He's still a rich white man handling what they want him to do. He may be a bit more player friendly.
Oh, he's a lot more player, yeah.
Yeah, a lot more player friendly, which is what's needed in order to broker deals. But let's not get it twisted. He works for the boss. For the boss man.
Yeah, he worked for the boss man. Yeah, But the thing is he is a more powerful entity than because if you notice under Adam Silver, if you're a bad owner, Adam Silver is getting your ass out of here, bro. Adam Silver, he don't play. If you're a bad owner,
I need to understand their bylaws, because I don't know. I don't understand how you could force somebody to sell their property. How you can just like eminent domain somebody like, I don't like what you said. You know? I don't care if this was in your personal conversation or whatever. It leaked. Now you gotta sell.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because they're gonna protect. They're gonna protect their thing. Like when the Phoenix Sun owner Robert Salva was like, I just don't understand how they can say the N word and I can't say the N word. Adam Silver was like, okay, yeah, we gotta get this clown out of here. Because you ain't built an arena. You know what I'm saying? Your team ain't winning, and you bringing this stupidness to the table. Yeah, we gotta get this clown out of here. You know what I'm saying? And that went fast. That was like 6 months. He gone. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Like I need to understand like their bylaws. Like how is it like it's ironclad? You step out, and don't get me wrong. I'm not here to say whether they deserve to be pushed out here or there, but I'm just saying the swiftness.
He don't play, bro.
But he works for them.
Right.
How do you fire? How does the employee fire the boss?
Because the other owners are gonna be like, listen, if this dude mess up the gravy train, we got to get him out of here. It's gonna be 29-1. You know what I'm saying? Because think about it. In order for you, because you got to be voted out as an owner. You know what I'm saying? All you need is 7 votes to stay as the owner. That's all you need, just 7 votes. Bro, but this dude couldn't get 7 votes. That means 24 teams 24 owners wanted him gone, bro. You know what I'm saying? Gotcha. So but going back to the Knicks thing though, going back to the Knicks thing real quick. I appreciate you, you know what I'm saying, doing the what if thing about the Knicks. My thing is
well, thank you, Uncle Freezie.
Yeah, well, but my thing is though with the Knicks, yo, does this hat make me look like Sway in the morning?
You know what? I think the way how you got it folded up. I think it does give a sway. It does give a swayish type of feel. I think how you got it folded, you know.
Yeah, well, you gotta make $1 out of 15 cents. You know what I'm saying? So I can't afford to buy expensive hats.
Nah, you gotta rock how you feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying? You know how we go at it.
You know? Yeah, man. So, but my thing is with the Knicks in terms of the what if conversation, and I think we're in a perpetual what if conversation, right? We're in that perpetual space of what if, like what if the Knicks would have traded Clyde Frazier earlier and for more stuff? What if they'd have traded Earl of Pearl earlier? You know what I'm saying? What if they would have traded? What if they'd have traded off pieces?
What if they didn't let Bernard, you know, become a free agent? What if they had believed in him and kept him in that young nucleus with Ewing?
And it took him 2 years to come back.
But that management coming in, they didn't know that. See what I'm saying? They didn't have any. Pitino knew him from being an assistant coach under Hubie Brown. Okay?
Right.
Pitino wanted no part of him neither. Bianchi wanted no part. It's probably the one thing that they both agreed on, that neither wanted them to bring Bernard with the young nucleus that they were building, which I thought was a mistake.
Right.
Because immediately he signs with Washington, rebuilds his career, becomes the forward that we talked about earlier.
That we need a 6'8" scoring machine. You know what I'm saying? Now he wasn't as good as he was before the knee injury, because before the knee injury, and for those that don't remember Bernard King, think about who the best player is in the NBA right now, right? Whoever it is, whatever name you say, and then whoever is second, that's Bernard King, right? That's how good that man was in that stretch that AD is talking about. Like Larry Bird won the MVP like 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
He threw like 3 years in a row. Larry Bird was the best player in the league, bro. And just whoever was second in the NBA, Bernard King was just as good as Larry Bird, except he didn't pass. If Bernard King could pass and rebound like Larry Bird, bro, you're talking about GOAT. You talking about GOAT status type dude.
Well, yeah, better guys to pass the ball to.
Right, that too. That
You
too.
know, again, he's that. This is how you know how people when new regimes come in, they don't pay attention to what worked previously.
Right.
Okay, you're a new regime. You come in, you have a Patrick Ewing who for the first 2 years of his career has been injury riddled.
Right.
You know, there's been talk about trading him for David Robinson,
Yeah.
for David Robinson's rights. Everything is unsettled there. Okay.
Yeah.
What better way to settle him besides finally getting him a point guard, which is Mark Jackson? What
Right.
better way to settle him than to getting him a more accomplished offensive star or piece that can be consistent with him to help him shoulder the load? Their idea of that is Sidney Green. And then the following year, to show you how much they loved Sidney Green, they doubled down on it by getting Charles Oakley.
Bro, I almost threw up. Bro, man.
Where did they do that at?
I don't know.
You signed Sidney Green. You loved him so much, you went out and got a better power forward in Charles Oakley the following year.
Can I tell? Okay.
You're admitting a mistake. I get it. We all make mistakes.
Right.
But still, it's still totally not what he needs because you got him an enforcer, but you didn't get him a load carrier. You see what I'm saying? Like Scottie Pippen to Michael Jordan was a load carrier.
Right. Right.
See what I'm saying? So we could play that what if game in so many ways in Knick universe, and they've consistently hit the mark, hit the target on what if you didn't do that.
Right. Right. No, I feel you. I feel you on that. I'm just frustrated with the whole thing, man. I'm frustrated with all of that. I ain't gonna lie. I'm damn near sad, bro.
How can he be frustrated? And we are embarking upon a new season. Let's pivot. We're embarking upon a new season. You know, we had media day. Give me your thoughts from media day.
Let me give you. I'm gonna give you that, but I'm gonna give you this too, bro. Do you remember Ray Williams? You remember his name, right?
Yes.
Right. The Knicks drafted him. Roy Williams is from Yonkers or somewhere like that, right?
Brother of Gus.
Brother of Gus Williams, right? But Ray played with us. We drafted Ray Williams, right?
Yes.
So here's the thing with Ray, because when we drafted Ray Williams, Michael Ray Richardson, Bill Cartwright, and Mike Woodson. And when that happened, bro, I remember as a kid thinking, "We back, baby!"
In like a 3-year span.
Yeah. Bim. Right. Yeah. And the homegrown, the homegrown talent, blah, 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 Bro, do you remember who we drafted in 1984 in the first round?
It's either Darryl Walker or Trent Tucker.
Neither. We traded that pick to acquire, guess who? Ray Williams, who we drafted and let him
walk out the door. Yes. We brought him back for a second round.
Why are you bringing in Ray Williams and Ken Bannister?
Yes.
Oh my God, bro! I'm telling you, I'm telling you. That's why when you ask me questions like, "Hey, man, what you think about media day?" I think it's all the same stuff, bro. It's all the same stuff. I wouldn't be surprised in 2 years we trade for Obi. You know what I'm saying? It to me, it's the same. It's the same Knicks stuff all the time, bro.
So you believe this management does not have what it takes to get to the championship? That's basically what you're saying right now.
What I'm saying is we traded our pick in 1984, the first round pick, in a draft that had Hakeem Olajuwon, Michael Jordan, Sam Perkins, Charles Barkley, Alvin Robertson, Otis Thorpe, Kevin Willis, Tim McCormick, who I like, Jay Humphreys, Michael Cage, Statue of Liberty Dunks, Terrence Stansbury, John Stockton, Jeff Turner. Man, come on, bro. What are we doing? Tony Campbell. Come on, man. What are we doing? Instead of keeping a pick and like, yeah, what we'll do is we'll just get one of them young talents. Maybe we'll get a John Stockton. Maybe we'll get a John Stockton, the tough guy that Bobby Knight said was going to be the best point guard in the NBA. Remember '84? Remember the '84 Olympics? All these dudes played together on the Olympic team. Charles Barkley got cut because he was going to fight Bobby Knight.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? All these dudes, these college players was playing together. Bobby Knight was like, I don't know if y'all know this guy, but this guy, John Stockton, is going to be special. Everybody laughed. Nah, he don't look special. But anyway, the Knicks had a pick that year, and they traded that pick for Ray Williams, a dude they already had. And so what I'm getting at is what if the Knicks didn't trade that pick? Right? What if the Knicks drafted John Stockton and then drafted Pat Ewing the next year? What if?
If they have Stockton, they're more than likely not getting Ewing because they only got Ewing because Bernard got hurt.
Right, I understand where you're coming from.
But what if Bernard doesn't get hurt?
But the thing is though, is even in that, the lottery occurred the next season. This season here that I'm talking about, the Stockton year, went by record. You know what I'm saying? Remember, teams would just be back.
That's
84.
Right.
The year,
yeah. That's the year before lottery.
That's the year before the lottery. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. So even if Bernard King gets hurt that year, even if they say are in the 15 through 20 range, they still get Stockton. They still have Bernard hurt on injured reserve, and then Bernard King is out. Whatever. Stockton is still a rookie because remember he didn't pop in Utah until '86. '86 was about the time where he started to pop. So even if you got Stockton, he was on the bench for that 1 year, 84, 85. You get Pat, he learned his way. Pat, a rookie, number 1 pick, blah, blah, blah. And now instead of it being Stockton Malone, it's Stockton and Pat.
Yeah.
But it's all these things. What if the smaller, it's the butterfly effect, the small little thing over here that has a big impact over here, right? Because think about what you said. What if Pat Ewing was healthy in the '99 finals? What if Pat was healthy in the '99 finals and John Stockton was still there? Are we still having the same conversation, right? But instead, they traded for Ray Williams. They draft Ken Bannister and bring in some other Lewis or Gary Trent, Mel Tucker. I don't know.
They had real bad talent evaluators.
Right. That's my.
And I know Dick McGuire. Yeah, Dick McGuire, who was a part of the Knicks history and so forth, and I think he ended up drafting Mark Jackson when the team was in turmoil, when the team was in transition. Excuse me, not turmoil. But those years you're talking about, the people who they thought, they draft Darryl Walker over Clyde Drexler.
Oh my God! Every time I just, can you imagine?
They literally Phi Slammer Jammer, Clyde Drexler, one of the great shooting guards of the history of the NBA. You draft Darryl Walker, again, a fringe player.
Right.
That high. It's like 25 years later, you draft Ronaldo Balkman in the same type of an area.
It just turned my stomach, bro.
You can't. You're repeating the same mistakes over and over again.
Can you imagine 83 Drexler, 84 Stockton, 85 Pat Ewing? What if? And this is not like wow. This is not like mad wow. What if like 1,000 things got to go right for this. Nah, all you got to do is call Clyde Drexler name. That's all you got to do is call his name. Bro,
there was guys who have built teams, Freezie, that didn't win championships, and they don't get the respect because they didn't win the championship.
Right.
But their drafting pedigree and how they develop organization, it's like second to none. Look at Presti, right? Now in OKC. He may never win a championship with them. Right. But do you doubt that him and his people, they know players? Do you doubt it for a moment that they know players? They may not know how to put coach to player to take them to the promised land, but do you doubt that he's going to pick players that can be in contention? Not for a moment.
Right.
If you look at the OKC, look at back-to-back years of the drafts that man had.
Right.
They didn't win, but he drafts top 75 players in 3 of his first 6 drafts.
Right. I'm gonna hit you with one. I'm gonna hit you with one. And I know it's gonna sound like revisionist history, but I'm gonna even go out. I'm even gonna go out on a limb and just say the Mark Jackson pick was not a home run pick. And I know you got like, who would you pick, man, instead of Mark Jackson? I have never been a Mark Jackson fan, bro. So when I sound like a hater, I'm gonna sound I'm gonna sound
like myself.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sound like a hater. But that was the Steve Alford draft, right? Remember Steve Alford from Indiana? That was the Steve Alford draft, right? Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I'm gonna research it here to see. And I'm gonna. Yeah. No, how about this? Who did? I'm gonna just say this. I understand that we didn't have a point guard, and Mark Jackson played for us for like 6 years or 7 years, if you count the 1 year where he was like 300 pounds and he was wearing number 31. Remember the year he came in, Mark Jackson was like 400 pounds, wearing number 31. Mark
it was like Marvin Sapp.
he out here looking like Marvin Sapp. He out here looking like Marvin Sapp with the Knicks jersey on. But my thing is I'm just gonna say this, and it's totally revisionist history, and I'll admit to it, right? But I would rather have drafted Reggie Lewis than Mark Jackson, right? And at the time, and I know at the time, people are gonna be like, "Well, you didn't have a point guard, man. You know, Darryl Walker was in with the Bullets." I know what Darryl Walker played 3 seasons with us, 2 seasons with us. Darryl Walker,
3 or 4, something.
Yeah, something like yeah. I think the Knicks probably would have, if the Knicks would have drafted Reggie Lewis. Now I'm not saying, now I'm totally being in the moment. I'm totally being in 1987, right? Mm-hmm. I'm totally being in that moment. I think Reggie Lewis at the time was probably a better fit for Pat, because at the same time we did have, well, I don't know, because we had Gerald Wilkins, and I know there are a lot of Gerald Wilkins fans out there. I'm one of them. I like Gerald.
Are they? There are a lot of Gerald Wilkins fans out there? Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I know. I know.
Nah, salute to Gerald Wilkins.
Yeah, but the thing I'm getting at though with Gerald Wilkins, thing I'm getting at with that is if you keep if you roll out with Rod Strickland, Reggie Lewis, Gerald Wilkins, I think you have a better supporting cast. Johnny Newman, Obi Toppin, who was it? Whoever that was, Kenny Walker, Kenny Walker with Pat Ewing. I think things go a little bit better.
That's a mosh pit of colossal fucks. Are you kidding me? There is Magic Johnson couldn't have made Kenny Walker into a better ball player.
No, bro. I understand. I understand that.
You know, and I get you not liking, as my cousin used to call him, burger buns, Mark Jackson.
Oh, I see. that doesn't
I get it. All right. But here's what's undeniable. He infuses the coach's philosophy, which is to run up and down,
right,
press, trap, and more than anything else, it inspires Ewing.
Right. You're right.
Ewing, all of a sudden, there's no more conversation about trading him for Robinson.
Right. Right. No,
He gets Ewing the ball. Not only that, you saw glimpses of it in the first 2 years. Don't get me wrong, because I still remember a game in old Landover, Maryland, where he dropped 47 on doing nothing but turn around jump shots.
Right.
Literally, I think he hit like 15 turnaround jump shots in a row. It was just like automatic one night. That was it.
Right.
But he didn't have that. His point guard was Rory Sparrow.
I almost threw up in my shirt.
Think about that. Rory Sparrow. No disrespect to Rory Sparrow. He made it to the NBA. But again, that's like having a Bentley Ghost, Phantom sitting outside parked next to a Corolla.
Right. No, I'm with you on that.
You see what I'm saying? Or having the Corolla being the,
and for people don't know, it's basically, for people don't know, Rory Sparrow playing point was just like Alec Burks playing point. That's basically what it was like watching.
With a star like that, yeah. If Embiid is your center and Alec Burks is playing point guard, yeah.
Yep, that's basically what it was like. And then they had our guy who we all loved and respect, Louis Orr. You know what I'm saying? But he wasn't. Yeah, but he wasn't Alex English.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And then the AD, that's what I'm saying. Like, what if? Like, I'm thinking about all these names out here. You remember, man, the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets got Alex English from the Indiana Pacers for nothing, basically. You remember when David Thompson started having drug issues, and they were like, "Oh boy, we just need some scoring punch," and they just took a flyer on a dude named Alex English, and he wound up being, well, now he's probably the second or third best player in franchise history. But when they got him, when he finished his career, he had a better career than Dan Issel and David Thompson. You know, you remember the Seattle backcourt of downtown Freddie Brown,
Gus
Williams, and Dennis Johnson. Remember that? And so Seattle was like, yeah, we're just gonna move on, man.
Jack Sickler at center.
Yep, and Spencer Haywood. Right, and so my thing is if you're the Knicks, why don't you just jump in the conversation for Dennis Johnson? You know what I'm saying?
They were always a step slow. They trade the 87 first round pick for Gerald Henderson.
Oh God!
By that time, Gerald Henderson and the general manager was a dude named Scott Sterling. Yeah.
Right. Yep.
That pick that he trades for Gerald Henderson becomes Scottie Pippen.
Yep.
You can't make these things up. You know what I mean?
Bro.
He just did, like, Gerald Henderson had some good years in Boston, no doubt.
Remember when he broke his neck and still played? Remember he played with the neck brace?
You don't trade that high of a pick for that person who's on the downside of his career, and they kept on doing things like that. Chuck Robinson.
Oh my God.
You know, again, it's what if you had somebody that had some vision that wasn't stuck in, you know, in Fairfield basketball 1950.
Right.
You know, that had that could get some young people around him and could see the growth of the game going forward and the style of play that's gonna come. That's to come. Everybody at one point decided that they were gonna play the Twin Tower game.
Right.
Why?
Right. Why? Bro, it's crazy, bro.
Y'all could all play the Twin Tower game, but guess what? Y'all don't got Bird and Magic to lead this.
Right. The Twin Towers only works when you have facilitators.
When you have facilitators.
Bro, the Twin Towers work because Craig Elo could knock down wide open 3-pointers. People forget that Craig Elo was the shooting guard for those Houston Rockets team, bro. A 6'7" wing defender that can knock down shots and defend everybody in the league. Right? He's more famous for the Jordan shot. The shot on Elo was good. Okay. But you know why Craig Elo was guarding Jordan right there? Because Craig Elo was a good damn defender.
Well, I think the whole team was guarding him right there. If you see that's a
you remember that shot?
That's a great shot right there.
Right.
Where the cameraman where he went, the entire team. It seemed like they're fans. It seemed like even the back side of the fans under the stanchion, everybody went with him on that shot.
They know he wasn't gonna play. They know he wasn't gonna. Well, first of all, there wasn't enough time on the clock to run the play, right?
It just was get it to Mike.
Yep, get it to Mike and get out of the way. That's what Collins said. That's what Collins said at the end of the press conference after the game.
That's it.
Get it to Mike and get out the way.
Get out the way, and he, you know, sends him home.
Yep.
Sends Cleveland home. Because we were supposed to play Cleveland. That should have been Knicks Cleveland.
That should have been Knicks Cleveland.
Yeah. What if it's Knicks? What if it's Knicks Cleveland? Do we beat Cleveland, go on to Detroit, and we're playing Detroit in the conference finals?
Yes, absolutely.
I thought we matched up well with Cleveland. Cleveland was a better team talent wise.
They were more athletic on the wings than us.
Yeah. But I thought we matched up well with them. You know, I really thought. But they just had Wayne Embry was a good general manager.
He was great, bro.
He knew talent.
So where was he better? Was he better in Cleveland or was he better in Seattle? I think he was better in Seattle.
The Cleveland years is more my years of really understanding trades and starting to understand that. So I'm gonna say Cleveland.
Right.
Because I remember him just pulling Price, Harper, Nance, trades for Nance off of he's in that 3-team trade with Philly.
You know who he traded for Larry Nance, right? Kevin Johnson.
Kevin Johnson. Okay.
Bro, think about that backcourt he put together. Off the bench is Del Curry and Kevin Johnson behind Mark Price and Craig Elo.
Yeah.
The very next year, they draft Terrell Brandon.
Right, one pick ahead of who?
Oh man, come on, bro.
I was at that draft, by the way.
Come on, bro, man. Bro,
I went to that draft because one, it was in the Garden. It was really easy to get there. I think it was free to get in back then.
Right.
But for some of the seats, right.
Mm-hmm.
And a friend of mine was an usher from school, and he sees me and he gets me down to like almost to the floor.
Right.
And I'm waiting for the Knicks because it was the same thing with Curry all over again. The Knicks are eyeing Brandon, Terrell Brandon. This is the perfect point guard. They're not. I'm not saying they wasn't looking at Greg Anthony. I'm not saying that. But if Brandon is there, they're not taking Greg Anthony.
Right.
Terrell Brandon at one time was one of the top point guards in this game.
Yeah. course.
Yeah, easy.
What year was that? 90?
That's 90, 91.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Bro.
I remember when he drafted the whole, it just felt like the air just left the room. Boom.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
We drafted
again,
Rod Strickland in '88, bro. So I think we'd have been.
I think we thoroughly cleaned out the what if clock.
Yeah, my stomach hurting, bro. This thing got my tummy hurting. So before we get out of here, then let me ask you
What's my favorite Isley record? It's Footsteps in the Dark.
Footsteps. No doubt, no doubt. Let me ask this. It's a Jets related question.
Oh Jesus! Oh, wow.
Are the New York Jets cursed?
Are we what?
Cursed.
Yes.
I'm thinking.
Well, like all curses, it comes a time where you have to just throw it out of the air. You gotta eventually just think past that.
Right.
Because if you believe in it, you give it life.
Give it energy, yeah.
Give it energy.
Like Stevie Wonder said, if you believe in things you can't understand, that makes you very superstitious.
Yeah, you give it energy.
Yeah, man.
But it's easy for our fan base to feel that way because we've had a lot of after they I don't know why has he done this to me. After the 2010 AFC Championship game that we lost to
Pittsburgh.
No, well, the 09, I'm thinking 09, 10 to the Colts. I couldn't really work for like 3 days.
Bro, that third down that the Colts converted to kick that field goal, bro, it broke. You could just hear Jets fans just jumping off the Arizona Bridge.
It was just awful.
Yep.
I mean,
because it was like 3rd and 14. The Jets had everybody covered, and a random dude that looked like he don't even supposed to be in the NFL makes a catch for like 18 yards on a 3rd and 14.
It just happened that we lose Thomas. Well, Thomas Jones had gotten hurt from the week before.
Yeah.
So he wasn't gonna really give much, and he couldn't give anything. And then we lose Sean Green. He falls on the ball.
That fat motherfucker, bro. That
falls on the ball. You just see him running off the field, holding his left side like this in that kind of fashion, and he doesn't come back into the game. And we no longer have an ability.
How does a football hurt a man with all that fat on him, bro?
Have you ever felt a real football?
Yes.
A real NFL football field that has cement inside of it.
Bro, have you ever seen Santa Claus? That's Sean Green. Sean Green, bro. Sean Green make me some Sean Green. If you watch it, bro, you owe me $400. Because all I needed, bro, no lie. All I needed was 7 yards from Sean Green against the Patriots one year.
I know.
Right? It was the 3rd quarter. And that man, and the thing about it is that man on the next carry, that man got me 9 yards, right? And for the rest of that game, that man ran the ball 6 times for -6 yards. So he won me the league and then lost me the league. And so ever since then, I'm like, every time I see Sean Green, bro, you couldn't get me 1 yard.
Eddie George did that to me.
Oh my God!
I lose the championship by 1 point. By 1 point because Eddie George couldn't get 1 yard, which would have equaled 2 points. Being that he didn't get the yard, how the scoring system was at that point, you got no points. So how it is now, you'd have gotten a half a point, which would have tied.
Right.
He didn't get the 2 yards, which would have given a whole point.
Right.
I lose the championship game by 1 point.
Thank you, Sean Green.
Thank you,
Sean Green. Made me so mad. I can just
and
Sean Green and Eddie George went on to play for the Cowboys, right?
Thank you, Eddie George and Sean Green.
One other thing. So on Saturday nights, a lot of Saturday nights, we have the the old school music debate? All right, and so I'm gonna say this and just get your honest opinion on it, right? One decade of music has to go. The 70s, 80s, or 90s, right? One of those eras of music has to go.
In what genre?
All genres.
Like, which is just the best decade of music, basically.
Yeah, like you can keep two, but one of them got to go. 70s, 80s, 90s. Right. For me, it's easy. The 90s got to go, bro. Bye. Peace. They telling me the 70s got to go, bro.
I think the 60s might have to go for me.
The 60s wasn't an option though. It's 70s, 80s,
70s, 80s, 90s. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
80s, 90s, then I think.
Because the 2000s would have been, that would have been too easy. 2000s would have been gone.
Oh my God, that's hard. That's really difficult. It's really, really difficult.
How are you getting rid of Earth, Wind, and Fire and Kool and the Gang, bro? How are you getting rid of Parliament Funkadelic and the Jacksons?
I know, but man, that's a really hard, difficult.
How are you getting rid of the Temptations, bro?
I don't know. You can't. You just really can't. Which one? It's really your preference.
How you getting rid of the spinners, bro?
Like what you rock to.
The stylistics.
Yeah, but the 80s has,
Michael Jackson, Prince,
Michael Jackson,
Whitney Houston. Freddie Jackson.
What's my Jackson? What's my guy? Lionel Richie. Lionel Richie's a monster in the 80s. He's a monster in the 70s and the 80s. But he's a monster with a group. Then he's a monster as a solo artist.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So so dudes are telling me the you got to keep the 90s because of Boyz II Men and Jodeci. But I remember the 90s for too sexy for my shirt. That's what I remember the 90s for.
My favorite girls group of all time is in the 90s. That's
En Vogue.
SWV.
En Vogue, definitely.
SWV. I'm sorry.
Right.
En Vogue are better singers, but SWV for me, they were just my.
En Vogue don't even have to sing, bro. They could just walk up to the microphone and sing.
I'll give you that too. But SWV, they were my girls, and I don't know if I can just toss the 90s out of it. Wow, it's a tough debate.
You don't have to just be the 90s. You could toss the 80s, bro. You could toss out Michael Jackson.
I don't know if I could toss the Run DMC. How am I tossing Run DMC? How am I tossing Lisa Stanfield? I mean, there's a lot of people. Well, she comes on in like late 80s and 90s. I mean, there's a lot of people. Am I tossing, Soul to Soul?
Soul to Soul. Black Box, everybody.
Yeah, there's a lot of great music in the 80s.
How you gonna toss Rick James, bro?
How you gonna toss Renee and Angela?
That's what I'm saying. The
You
80s,
don't
bro.
have to cry.
Right.
What? That's my shit.
Angel, bro, come on, bro. How you gonna toss? I think like 5 singers had a song called Angel in the 80s. Shaka Khan had an Angel. Anita Baker had an Angel.
Anita Baker, yep.
Renee and Angela.
Renee and Angela had one. Yep.
Yeah. So
you can't. I mean, that's Orange Juice Jones.
That's New Jack Swing. How you gonna toss out New Jack Swing, bro? How you gonna toss out New Edition and Guy?
Alvin Short. Alvin Short's a lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So 90s gotta go, bro.
I don't know. I gotta. Wow. That's
90s gotta go, bro. I need somebody on my team because I gotta save the 70s. You can't put out
90s. That's Mary J. Blige. How you gonna toss out Mary J. Blige? How you gonna toss out Mariah Carey?
I'm gonna toss them out because in the 70s there are some groups that you probably can't remember, like Sister Sledge, the Jones Girls. I just love the man.
Sledge, I just love the man. Jones Girls.
The Pointer Sisters. The Emotions. Whoa, got the best of my love.
Absolutely.
Don't ask my neighbors. Ashford and Simpson.
Don't ask my neighbors.
Yeah, how we gonna toss them? How we gonna toss them for ain't nothing but a G thing, baby? We saving that.
Well, here's the thing though. With that though. At least we paid homage to our father's music easily, versus what's going on here today.
Right.
I can't. I absolutely cannot. Majority of the stuff that I hear today, I'm like, I get it. You guys don't want to. Y'all don't want to go through the whole sampling stuff. Y'all want to keep all the money, this and the third, whatever. I get it. It's so lazy and disgusting that. What's the biggest genre right now today? Afro beats. By far, the more singable joints. If you're in your car. And whatever hot station you may turn on to, or adult contemporary or whatever, it's Afro beats.
Right. So,
and that's no knock on Afro beats. I love it, but everything else, uninspiring. Especially the hip hop world, uninspiring.
Afro beats, in my opinion, is getting back to love. To me, I think it's getting back to love music, bro. So,
it's definitely getting back to man and woman interaction.
Yeah.
Our physical, like in the dance interaction. When we used to, go out, have a night out and dance till you sweat. I don't see these kids dancing till they sweat. I'm like, what are you dancing till you sweat to exactly?
No, they do TikTok dances.
Hey, how do you dance till you sweat to that?
It's weird. It's weird, man. But
I don't know. But anyway, Freezie, let's leave it right there because I gotta run.
I'm gonna fix me something to eat, bro. I'm gonna fix me a humongous. I'm gonna fix a humongous Quentin Grimes, bro. Put some cheese on that thing.
A ham sandwich.
Yeah.
I saw you in GI the other day. GI was like, "Hey, but didn't you call him a ham sandwich?"
Yeah, man.
He pulled out that receipt in like 2.0 seconds. Salute
the Fast and Furious,
salute
bro.
to GI and all of the other content creators out there. I enjoy all of what you do. But anyway, Freezie, again, thank you for joining us. We don't know where this journey started, but we know it ended with you again. Look for us in the whirlwind. Coffee.
Peace, y'all. Them.
Yeah. Look out your window. Knicks fans is on your block. Y'all know the Knicks run the city. Pull them shades back. Look out your window. Look down there on the block. That's Knicks fans right there. It's about that time. It's about that time of the week where you get ready for your work week.